Waq Waq Island, the Island of Women. A legendary island appears in a number of Arabic geographical and historical texts, as well as Arabian fairy tales. Waq Waq is described as a hidden mysterious island located somewhere in the China Sea. One legend says that the island is entirely inhabited by women, with a powerful queen ruling over them. Now, you may ask how this all-female population reproduces. Well, as weird as it sounds, the island has an extraordinary legendary tree called Waq Waq, from which every female on the island is born. These females grow attached by their heads to the tree branches, just like fruit, and when they are mature enough, they fall to the ground and make a cry that sounds like Waq Waq, and that's how the island got its name. Other than being an island of women, Waq Waq is also rumored to be rich in gold and other precious metals. Banat al-Ma, or the daughters of water, are beautiful female water entities mentioned in Arabian Nights. Not to be confused with mermaids, the daughters of water look fully human, but, as mentioned in the story, they have the ability to live and breathe underwater. At the same time, they can also live on land the same way we do. Moreover, Banat al-Ma possess enhanced senses, such as being able to see in the dark and having exceptional hearing and sense of smell. The male version is called Insan al-Ma, or the man of water, and again, he looks fully human. So, daughters and men of water are more like an aquatic human race that has civilizations under the sea. And despite the environmental difference, they can still marry and have offspring with other humans. There are, of course, mentions of mermaids and mermen in Arabian mythology, with pretty similar descriptions and powers that we can find in other cultures across the globe. Tabib al-Bahr, or the physician of the sea. A mysterious humanoid fish-like creature with a yellow gemstone on its forehead. According to legends, this yellow gemstone is said to have the power to cure any sickness, hence the creature's name. By rubbing the yellow gemstone on the injured area, the physician of the sea can magically heal any wound or broken bones right away. This magical being is mentioned in various Arabic alchemical writings. Famous Arab alchemists like Jabir ibn Hayyan searched for Tabib al-Bahr, as it was thought that the gemstone in its forehead has an equal power to that of the philosopher's stone, a legendary stone rumored to have the power to turn base metals into gold, cure illness, and even grant immortality. Al-Qurtub, the Arabic version of the werewolf. But unlike werewolves in European mythology, Al-Qurtub does not really turn into a wolf or wolf-human hybrid. Rather, it remains human in form, but exhibits the behaviors of a wolf. According to the legend, Al-Qurtub roams graveyards and remote areas, and only comes out at night. Other tales depict it as a Jinn, or a type of ghouls that takes the form of a monstrous wolf-like creature that lives in graveyards and feeds on corpses. What I find interesting is that a number of medieval Arabic and Islamic scholars explained Al-Qurtub legend as sightings of people with a rare mental disorder caused by severe depression. This disorder affects their behaviors and impairs their cognitive abilities. According to Ibn Sina, or Avicenna, a Muslim philosopher and physician, Al-Qurtub is a form of melancholic depression presenting symptoms of a complete social isolation. Individuals who experience Al-Qurtub often spend their time alone in graveyards and remote areas, and are only active at night. They show hostility, similar to that of a wild animal, towards anyone who tries to interact with them. They look tired, lost, and depressed. Werehyenas. A werehyena is a hyena that has the ability to disguise itself as a human. This creature is part of both Arabian and African folklore. Now, in Arabian culture, there are so many superstitions related to hyenas. These wild animals are said to be cunning creatures possessed by Jinn. Other stories describe hyenas as vampiric animals that attack people at night to suck out their blood. And it does not stop there. Across the Arab world, there is a common belief that hyenas have the ability to mesmerize their victims by gazing at them, or by releasing pheromones that are able to make you hallucinate and think that the hyena is a relative or friend, leading you to willingly follow it into its lair. The Ghoul. The most famous and iconic mythical creature from Arabian mythology. Beliefs about the ghoul vary, but it is often depicted as a hideous humanoid being that dwells in graveyards and deserted places. It has sharp teeth, glowing eyes, and ash-gray complexion. Despite its monstrous appearance, the ghoul is not mindless. It is actually known for its cunning nature and the use of trickery and deception to lure its victims to their deaths. In some stories, ghouls can shapeshift, mimic human voices, and even create illusions that paralyze their victims for a short period of time. Other stories describe the ghoul as a demon that dwells in the wilderness in the form of an attractive woman who leads travelers astray and later feeds on them. This fearsome monster appeared in pre-Islamic poetry and countless Arabian legends and fairy tales. It was a real nightmare, a desert demon that instilled such dread in ancient Arabs that they would refrain from traveling out of fear of encountering one. It was only after the spread of Islam that Arabs started to view the ghoul as a superstition or a fictional monster people use in fairy tales or to frighten children into good behavior. In modern Arabic, the word ghoul or ghoul is used as an equivalent to the boogeyman in Western culture, or sometimes to describe someone who is scary or gluttonous. Now, what about the origin of this legend? Well, one theory suggests that the ghoul originated from the Gallo, a class of powerful demons in ancient Mesopotamian religion. Gallos were believed to drag the living into the underworld and steal people away from their loved ones. So maybe the Gallos were later adopted into ancient Arabian beliefs, but with different characteristics. Tannin. Tannin is the Arabic word for dragon. However, Tannin here is a bit different from dragons in other mythologies. There are various descriptions of this creature in Arabic sources. In one legend, Tannin is described as a serpentine sea monster with multiple heads, one of which has a human face. Another legend describes it as a strange sea creature that can take 3 different forms by will: a giant serpent, a massive fish, and a large bird. Anqa, a legendary bird with extraordinary beauty, similar to a phoenix. There are so many legends and folk tales surrounding Anqa. One legend describes it as an intelligent, mighty bird with 4 wings. When it flies, the sound of its wings resembles the sound of thunder. It lives somewhere in Arabia and has a lifespan of almost 2,000 years. After its long lifespan, Anqa leaves Arabia and heads towards Phoenicia. There it chooses a towering palm tree and builds a nest, where it dies in flames. Now, the interesting part is that from the ashes of Anqa, a new creature emerges in the form of a giant pure white worm. After a period of time, this giant worm transforms into a chrysalis, and from this chrysalis, a new phoenix bird emerges, flying back to Arabia. The three cosmic beasts. So far, we talked about a mysterious island, mythical creatures, and legendary animals. Now, let's have a look at how the universe was described in medieval Arabic writings. According to a number of Arabic sources, such as the Dictionary of Countries by Yaqut al-Hamawi and the Book of Wonders by al-Qazwini, there are 7 heavens, 7 layers of earth, and 7 hells. The heavens and earth are carried by an angel. The angel is standing on a giant primordial ball called Kujata, which in turn stands on a giant fish called Bahamut. Bahamut swims in the cosmic water and carries the rest of the universe, including 6 of the 7 hills. Yet below all of that, there's the 7th hill, where a massive, powerful, evil serpent called the Falak is said to reside. Now, it's important to mention that this myth is part of the mythical Arabic cosmography. There are many theories and explanations that were presented by Muslim scientists during the Islamic Golden Age that actually align closely with our modern understanding of the universe. For example, Ibn Sina suggested a universe that is eternal, one in number, finite in extent, and spherical in shape. On the other hand, Al-Ghazali, a Muslim polymath, rejected the idea of a finite single universe and actually suggested a multiverse theory. Al-Ghazali argued that the universe and the timeline we live in are the best of all possible universes and alternate timelines that God could have possibly created. Yet Ar-Razi, another great Muslim philosopher and scientist, insisted that God can create as many universes as he wishes. Thus, the idea of a single universe is weak, and there must be other universes that are different than the one we live in. Abu Fanus is an atmospheric ghost light seen by travelers in the Arabian desert and mostly occurs just before sunrise. Abu Fanus can be loosely translated to the owner of the lantern, which refers to the mysterious nature of this phenomenon. There have been several documented sightings of Abu Fanus. According to eyewitnesses, the light appears as a glowing, flickering ball that shines at times and dims at others. It can move quickly, getting closer or further away from the observer. If you try to approach it, it suddenly vanishes and may reappear in another place. Some attribute this phenomenon to a mischievous type of jinn that appears to travelers in the desert to mislead them and make them lose their way. Al-hatif, or the caller, is a mysterious voice heard at night without a visible or known source. Ones would keep hearing this mysterious voice on repeat, usually when they're alone, as if there is something haunting them. So, due to its ghostly nature, it was thought that Al-Hatif is a type of spirit or jinn that continuously calls their victim and eventually drives them insane. And it's not surprising that Al-Hatif was also associated with prophecy and divine messages. Now, here we see another scientific approach that explains this mysterious phenomenon, just like the one we saw with Al-Qurtub, where Al-Mas'udi diagnosed Al-Hatif as auditory hallucinations caused by loneliness and isolation. The poetry demon. In pre-Islamic Arabia, there was a common belief that poets, fortune tellers, magicians, and philosophers were inspired by demons or evil jinn. When people heard a brilliant poem or extraordinary words of wisdom, they would often refer it back to Jinn inspiration and inducing. So it's not strange to find that the most famous pre-Islamic poets like Imru al-Qais and An-Nabigha were actually said to be inspired by Jinn, and each of them had a so-called poetry demon. So that's it for today. In case you're wondering, what about Jinn, Marids and Afrits? Well, I made a whole series covering them in detail and you can watch it here. If you are interested in content like this, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And as always, please consider hitting a like as this helps the channel a lot. Thanks for watching and till next time.